heading straight for the Crimson Pirate base. Wayne, you ready?
Capcom sure has a way of teasing us. Its games are often beautiful, but many times they fall short in other key areas like gameplay and story. Lost Planet is the publisher's latest stunner, a trek across a frigid alien world where the bugs don't hibernate and mechs are the preferred mode of travel. And what gamer doesn't have a soft spot for a good grappling hook? It's time to step foot on the frozen tundra to see if this planet's warming us inside or giving us a chilly reception. You play as Wayne, a young strapping lad who watches his pop get capped by a giant multi-segmented beast. As luck would have it, he stumbles across a ragtag group of mercenaries who hate the big bugs just as much as he does. And they hate snow pirates too. This is the cosmic nutshell where EDN3, The Lost Planet, orbits. The yarn quickly unravels into a banal tale pieced together by cinemas that usually bookend the various chapters. They're large on talk, leaving most of the action to the gameplay, and tend to be lengthy, boring, full of awkward pauses, and poorly written, even if the voice acting itself is decent.
Are you gonna shoot me? One-on-one, you don't stand a chance.
How about 2-on-1?
It's a shame that this frozen tapestry thaws into such a muddle. There are some compelling characters and hints at what could have been, but Lost Planet's story is never so bad that it's good, and never so good that it's good.
It's not close. You're gonna have to cross the canyons.
Let's head to the canyons then. If we can infiltrate the volcano dome, we should be able to learn a little more about this project of theirs.
The side-scroller's from the 8-bit era, but its genealogy has trickled down and across the third dimension, and now a mutation erupts in Lost Planet. Here we have a game with a rapid line of increasing difficulty that's constantly banging the ceiling. The earlier levels are filled with wonders, the numerous accurate arachnids, the various VS robot suits, all easy to control, but all with their own unique abilities, from double jumping to transforming. It's all placed in a fantastic world where civilization lies in ruins, canopied in ice, and carpeted in snow. Later chapters have their share of visual marvels, but they also start feeling similar. This is where the game takes on a much more pugnacious atmosphere, throwing legions of enemies at you, at times enough to make even Halo's Flood stop and take note. All these enemies are needed to fill the vampiric nature of the game's grand gimmick, thermal energy. It keeps you warm, it keeps you alive, and your reserves are dropping every single second. Orange globules left in the aftermath of smoky carnage are the tomato soup that keeps your health up and the VS is charged. It's the next step up from Halo's shields or Call of Duty's recharging health. On the easy and normal difficulty settings, there's usually enough of this T-Eng for some rudimentary experimentation and exploration. The levels, as tumultuous as they may appear, are quite linear, with the radar constantly pushing you in the right direction. Ammo, guns, and grenades are plentiful, with the disc grenades being particularly great. This all carries over to the multiplayer, with standard single and team play with a few twists, and enough novelty from the suits, tanks, thermal energy, and grappling hooks to keep the battles interesting for a while. For the most part, Lost Planet plays well, if typical for a third-person shooter, but the nitpicks are numerous enough to distract. Control is on the verge of being sluggish. Targeting a boss's weak point to deliver one of your valuable missiles feels like you're slogging through molasses. This is exacerbated by large creatures making Wayne stumble at regular intervals. Just when you regain control, another beast will surface and he'll be sent right back to the ground, taking damage and burning up energy. The only reprieve is the grappling hook, which can make travel more brisk, provided you can find anchor points. The vital suits control predominantly well, though battling other suits amounts to little more than side-strafing while unloading your guns. That's not to say that the enemies are gun fodder. They never fall into pathfighting patterns and will eventually attack each other. The boss fights are definitely the highlight of the game. The massive creatures fill up the entire screen, though defeating the majority of them requires little more than blasting a few obvious spots. Lost Planet can definitely be a frustrating game to play at times, despite the fact that there are constant save checkpoints. But the difficulty also gives it an old-school aesthetic that we certainly appreciate. While you're guaranteed to get less than 10 hours out of the single-player option, there are enough set pieces in each chapter to make them worth replaying. The multiplayer voids a lot of the complaints, putting everyone on level, crunchy ground, but you'll still have to deal with the apathetic controls. Lost Planet is a nice evolution of an older genre, but in some ways, it's also stalled by its legacy. It's definitely not the next breakthrough, but it will please anyone looking for a straightforward experience with stunning visuals.